Hello, world. Welcome to Rex Arthur TV. This is the Rex Arthur Show where we discuss LGBTQ issues with an LGBTQ approach and an LGBTQ perspective in an LGBTQ plus planet where each and every one of us belongs to one or two letters in the sexual alphabet. LGBTQI AP. So we were just looking at the sun. Today we are outside and we just want to change the environment. And it's beautiful. The sun is so bright. It's around 1:30 p.m. in Africa, sunny side of the Capricorn side of the world. And the sun is very bright. The sun is coming to the equator very soon. It's leaving Capricorn, so that's why it's very hot in Africa, East Africa, Kenya. And now we are back to celebrating Women's Day, and we have just discussed about the fact that Women's Day is for everybody because everybody has a woman in them. Leave alone, you don't need to have a woman, you don't need to be married to a woman. Yeah, you don't need to, but you still have a woman. Yes, we all have a woman in us. And so when International Women's Day is for everybody, same to Men's Day, is for everybody because even women have a man. And they say, what? Why do women have a man? No, women have a man. They have an X chromosome from a man. Yes, we are all hermaphrodites. Even men are hermaphrodites. In fact, men are very perfect in their hermaphroditeness because they have a Y chromosome. And the Y chromosome, in fact, is a mistake of science. The Y chromosome is a small X chromosome. It's just small in size. Yeah, it's an X chromosome. So basically, when you have a daughter, when you create a daughter in procreation, it means the sperm that fertilized the egg was a big X chromosome. And when you get a son, it is the small X chromosome that made that son. Yes, it's unbelievable. So it's not that the Y chromosome is Y. No, it's an X chromosome that is very small compared to the X chromosome of the woman. Though we'll look at the science today. We can look at it later on. I think even the X chromosome of the man that makes a daughter is also small. Though no, it's not small. I've remembered my science. It's the same size. Yeah, I think just the properties to make a man, especially the penis, because the Y chromosome is the one that helps in creating the penis. When it's small, it does something. It elongates everything in the body. That's why men have longer bones, longer muscle cells, longer clitoris. Yes, the penis is a clitoris. So men have a longer clitoris, and they have they have big things compared to women. It's because they are the Y chromosome, which is an X chromosome, is very small. So that's what you need to understand. All right, so now let's go back to what we were discussing, and we were on the New Lines. Is an interview by Sky News. It's an interview by Sky News, and we want to watch it. Here it is. And listen, it's a podcast, and we want to go through it to understand what is happening in the feminist movement. There's a war between the trans women and women, because even in the LGBTQ movement, remember the pride event in England last year, the lesbians fought the trans women because they felt like they are not women. They're not women. And we said, no, trans women are women. But that's the war that's happening, and we want to discuss it using this podcast. And it's titled The Right to Be Female, Transgender Women Clash with Feminists. And this is to show you the new, this is called, Sky News calls this segment New Lines. And I like that definition because I think it's their show. They are telling you that the world there are new battle lines that have come up because of the new sciences. Of course, these sciences are not new. It's just that they've been modified and have created new battlefields. So we now have a battlefield about who is a man and who is a woman. That's where we are. All right, let's go on and listen through.
Trans people are very, very scared. Having to constantly fight to be who you are.
Gender has become a battleground.
A man is telling me that he's a woman, and that if I don't accept that, I'm a Nazi.
It's a long time for these abuses.
Okay,
people are very,
sorry about that. It's a bit low volume. But I'm going to echo what he said. You can go and listen to the podcast later on. And what is happening is they have said gender has become the new battlefield. And there's a woman who said, she has also said that when I call a man, a woman who is a trans woman, a man, that trans woman calls me a Nazi. And I agree with the trans woman. Yes, you are a Nazi, or you have Nazi leanings if you call a trans woman a man, and especially a trans woman who has accepted that they are trans women. Because you have to understand the trans movement. It's very complicated. Extremely more complicated than the gay. You see why the gay movement and lesbian and bisexual, they are not complicated. It's because it's not about who you are. It's about whom you have sex with. So that's why there's really no issue in the gay movement. But there's a very big issue in the trans movement because it's not about whom you have sex with. It is who you are. That is why trans issues are very emotive. It's because of who you are, and that's what you need to understand is happening in the trans movement. Okay, I'm thinking of changing the venue because of the noise. I think when the sound is played out, it's not kept in the room. It's scattered, so you're not able to listen to what we are saying. So we're gonna change the venue, and we will continue with this interview. So let's change the venue. All right, we're back. I think it's better to do it inside so that we can hear the interview very well. The podcast. I'm breathing. I think I had to do some other things in the process, so I'm seated now after doing all that work. Now let's listen to. So I was saying.
Very scared. Having to constantly fight to be who you are.
Gender has become a battleground.
A man is telling me that he's a woman, and that if I don't accept that, I'm a Nazi.
So there's that woman. She's saying that a man tells her that she's a woman, and that if she doesn't accept that, she's a Nazi. Well, yes, I agree with the trans woman. That man who said he's a woman. I agree with her. Because the Nazis attacked gay men. And the gay men they attacked were effeminate. They were the feminine gays. The ones who looked or acted like women. So it was out of ignorance. Now, much as the Nazis attacked Jews, they also attacked gays. And this was because of science. They did not know the sciences. Sexual sciences were being understood at that time. Even Alfred Kinsey, the great sexologist, had just started discussing the science of sexuality. Sigmund Freud already discussed the science of sexuality. He was already discussing it. Sexual sciences became a very new frontier, and people were trying to understand gay and lesbians, but mostly gays. They never used to understand gay men. So in all of that furor, people were fighting, trying to understand who is gay, who is not gay, and why are they gay. So even that's what you need to understand about the Nazi regime. They were gays in the Nazi regime. Yes. In fact, it was so easy for them to get the gays who are not in the Nazi regime. So you can, if you want to even extrapolate, they were punishing the effeminate gays for showing their gayness. They were showing people that gay men exist. Because an effeminate can't hide. Yes, an effeminate guy can't hide. So I agree with that trans woman telling that lady, yeah, you'll be a Nazi, because that's what Nazis did. They went for effeminate men who they can decide to remain effeminate. What I mean by deciding, they don't remove their penis, or they can become trans women and remove their penis. Or you can even be a trans woman and stay with your penis. Yes. That's what you need to understand. That's what castration is not demasculization. It's demasculization, but it's also a feminization. It is to make a man feminine. That's what you need to understand. It is to make a man feminine. Because men have high sex drive because of testosterone. Yes. Men have a high sex drive because of testosterone. So to reduce that sex drive, you are castrated. That's what they did to Alan Turing. Alan Turing was arrested for being homosexual. And his punishment, why was his punishment? Why did they just leave him in the prison, and stay with the men? I mean, he would just be having sex all the time. Yes, that's what happens in jails. It's homosexuality, whether it's a jail of men or women. So, but when they put Alan Turing in jail, they focused on his sexuality, and they wanted to reduce his testosterone, his sex drive, because of his homosexual life. And because the science of sexuality was now developing, so they knew how to chemically castrate. They did not castrate him physically. Physical castration has been in the world for thousands of years. The one that was new was the chemical castration. And that's what they did to Alan Turing, and he committed suicide because he was not understanding himself. He was not feeling himself because he changed his internal infrastructure. Yes, chemically. And in fact, I think what was happening, he was being made a woman. Yes, he was being effeminized. And he didn't want that. He loved being a gay man, macho or neutered. Okay, so that's what you need to understand. So, I'm sorry, lady. Yes, you are a Nazi if you attack trans women, because that's what the Nazis did. they attacked effeminate gay men who are very similar to trans women.
There's fierce opposition from some groups to proposed changes to the Gender Recognition Act.
I've had abuse for what I do.
It's extremely frightening.
The transgender community wants to simplify the process necessary to get a gender recognition certificate, but hardline feminists claim making it too easy to self-identify is an attack on women's rights.
Trans women are, by definition, male.
It's the fight for the right to be a woman. Hello, I'm Lucy Cotter. Welcome to this Line 18 podcast from Sky News, part of our series looking at issues up and down the country in 2018. Elijah is visiting his sister in Leicester,
Oh, been too long. Come in. You alright? Yeah, I'm good, thank you.
where he grew up as a girl.
I just have memories of you in your football kit in the back garden.
Yeah.
Playing football and rolling around with your best friend playing army.
And then I went as David Beckham to the Millennium
Yeah.
that New Year's party.
You started to change the actual physical makeup of your body, didn't you?
Yeah.
Started going to the gym more.
Yeah.
To be able to build your muscles around your shoulders
Yeah.
and give you that more masculine curve around your neck.
Elijah finally transitioned at the age of 24.
Even when you did come out, it was quite glaringly obvious.
The next morning I remember Mum coming in, bringing me a cup of tea in the morning, and then sitting on the bed and she just started crying. She said it's just been so hard already and we don't want it to be harder. And I remember just being like, but this is better.
Yeah.
This is good. You know?
You're right.
Although Elijah lives as a man, he hasn't applied to legally change his gender. This is possible under the 2004 Gender Recognition Act, but only after a series of tests have been passed, described by many as onerous and humiliating. It's estimated there are up to 500,000 transgender people in the UK. Our research found in the last year, 12,253 people were seen by NHS gender identity clinics in England, but only 4,910 gender certificates have ever been issued. So the government's considering simplifying the process, allowing self-identification.
When I was my other boys, and I started looking for girls' clothes. I went to university as a man, but at night I would be Sue.
Sue Pascoe has fully transitioned and legally changed her gender, and for her it was a long and arduous process. For years she was married with children.
When our first child came along, she didn't think that Sue should be in our lives and that it wasn't right for the children. And I agreed to that, and
In 2014, she finally became Sue, travelling to India for surgery when faced with a 3-year waiting list in the UK.
today I'm at peace, and now I'm legally female. So I have a female birth certificate. I would be buried as a female, and if, God forbid, I ever got into prison, I would go to a women's prison.
Feminists are against moves to make the process Sue went through to legally change her gender easier, concerned self-identity